Hello and welcome to Ep.4 of the Chop It Up Gaming Podcast. We are two mates who like to chop it up and talk gaming way too much. My name is Josh,
And I'm Mark.
and we've been absent for a while because we kind of lied to you. We said at the end of our last episode, which was filmed before the Game Awards, that we were going to react to the Game Awards the week after. That's what we said, didn't we, Mark?
Life got in the way, I
Life
would
got in
say.
the way.
Life got in the
That's
way.
right. You went on holiday,
Yep.
then I went on holiday, then I went on holiday again, and now I'm back, and you're back, and it's the 26th of January, and we last recorded early December. So we lied. But that's okay, we're back, and there's a lot of stuff to talk about.
Nice and refreshed.
Nice and refreshed, that's right. And considering it was the Christmas break, I guess there was a surprising amount of pretty cool news. We got what did we get in between? We got the Game Awards. We got a ton of cool game reveals.
Yeah, I
We
got
got
the developer direct from
we
Xbox.
got Xbox's developer direct, and
Yep.
Nintendo went and announced some little console or something like that as well.
Pretty niche. I don't think it's worth bringing up.
Yeah, probably no one's really going to care about that.
Yeah.
And then there was something else like some hardware from the world's like biggest company or something in
Mm.
video world.
I'm not,
So
not really aware of that one, but yeah.
yeah. Anyway, yeah, no new Xbox consoles. That's the only thing we care about here. Um, no, there's been some pretty cool stuff over the last few weeks while we've been out of action and on holiday. Um, and today we wanna just talk about it. And look, Mark, today the thing I want to talk to you about is what are you excited for in 2025? Let's get the hype rolling. Let's talk about all the things
Yeah.
that we're looking forward to, and maybe also a little bit of what we've been playing while we were on break. How's that sound?
Perfect.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. Well, I mean, let's get cracking straight into it. I guess there's a ton of games coming out this year, and I'm actually pretty excited. I was looking through the list of all the stuff that's been confirmed, and then there's some other things which have been rumored. And like just looking at that list, I was like, damn, like if 2024 was maybe like a bit of an off year, there were still some good games, but it was a bit of a quiet year. This year is looking like another 2023, like a bunch of bangers. 2023 was a fantastic year. It was up there with like, I don't know, 2007,
Yeah.
um, some of those absolutely iconic gaming years.
Yeah.
And I don't know, 2025 is looking pretty big as well. Um,
Well, I mean, I don't know how all these games are going to come out, to be honest. I don't know how anyone's going to have the time to complete them all.
yeah,
I'm not envious of any of the journalists or reviewers that are going to have to get through all these games by themselves because there is a large slate coming up.
yeah, yeah, that's right. And like, yeah, just a bunch of big games. A couple probably 100+ hour games in there.
Yeah, massive
Um,
games.
as well as I guess a brand new console, the most anticipated game of all time as well,
Yep.
dropping this year. So I don't know, pretty exciting. I'm pretty keen.
Let's get into it.
Shall we kick it off? Yeah, all right.
Let's get right
So
into it.
let's start with a game that I think is maybe both is pretty close to both of our hearts. That is Elden Ring Night Rain. We're both huge FromSoft fanboys. You have been a fanboy for a long time.
Mhm.
Me, I jumped on the Elden Ring train and have since gone and played um, Elden Ring, the Dark Souls 1, 3, Bloodborne, and Sekiro. So I haven't got through all of them, but I'm getting there.
Mhm.
But I'm happy to say they're my favorite developer. And yeah, so at the Game Awards, FromSoft revealed Elden Ring Night Rain co-op game set kind of in a spin-off universe of Elden Ring, so kind of not canonical, but still taking that world and just like kind of taking it in like an off-universe shoot.
It's a
But it's like
multiverse. It's a
yeah,
multiverse.
yeah, exactly, like a multiverse kind of thing, and it's a co-op roguelike 3-player game. Like, what was your reaction to that trailer?
Well, I think it was possibly the biggest surprise that could have come out of the Game Awards, to be
Yeah,
honest. Given Miyazaki talked about how there was no future games planned in the Elden Ring universe, or anything like that, and
You
they've
didn't
just
say
come out
multiverse.
and they've just come out with a completely new standalone game, not a DLC, to be clear, a standalone title. That'll probably release at a reduced price, but nevertheless, big game. Very, very interesting. I think a lot of people have been. I think there's a market for it. There's a lot of people that have been crying out for a dedicated kind of online mode, co-op mode to play with your friends, and of course on PC you've got the seamless co-op mode, which is uh, really good mod. Works pretty well, and now they've kind of tapped into that. And I think the most interesting thing is probably, and maybe the cause for most, I guess, difference in opinion would probably be the way it's set up. A roguelike is not something I envisaged FromSoft doing, but here we are, I guess. So it'll be interesting to see how they execute it. I mean, roguelikes are all built on, I guess, crafting a godlike build or run and trying different and unique things. And I think Elden Ring suits that pretty well. Whether it's going to have the diversity that you need in a roguelike, I think is going to be the main question because it's only going to be set in Limgrave. We had a glimpse at some of the new bosses, and I don't know about you, but I'm hyped to fight some of those old Dark Souls 3 bosses once again. I think a lot of them are really, really good and would really suit the Elden Ring sandbox. So overall, I would say I'm hyped, but I still can't imagine what the game is going to be like. I know what it is. I know I've read a lot about how it's going to play, but I just can't imagine that being a thing with classes dropping in from the sky and a thing, and then rushing into getting your upgrades. That doesn't seem Elden Ring or FromSoft at all, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. So, I mean, there's a lot that's pretty different about it. So yeah, as you said, you've got predefined classes. You have so you said it's in Limgrave, but it's
Hmm.
basically in a randomized version of Limgrave.
That's
So I
right.
think
Yep.
they've changed up the map a lot, but then there's going to be, to my understanding, there's going to be like randomized structures in it. The enemies and bosses, I think, are going to be randomized, and you're going to have randomized loot placement. So your runs are going to change, and then um, correct me if I'm wrong. It's like 40-minute runs, or was it? You have to survive 3 days. Each day you have a boss fight at the end of the day, and
Yep.
then at the end of the third day you fight like the main boss.
Yep.
I can't remember if the days are 40 minutes or if the whole thing is 40 minutes all up. Um,
I'd hope the days are 40, to be honest.
okay,
I think 40 minutes for an entire run is a pretty
bit too
short
short.
time. Yeah, it's a pretty
Okay,
short time. Yeah.
but yeah, I think you're right that this game will live and die on the extent to which the runs feel different and probably also the challenge of it. Like obviously
Hmm.
if it's a FromSoft game, it's going to be hard, but um like what I'm my biggest concern with this game would be that like you can beat it on your third or fourth run and
Yeah.
then every single run after that feels pretty similar and then it's just like, well, just feel kind of done with it.
Yeah.
But if there's I think what would be good, yeah, if there's a lot of variety between the runs, which hopefully there should be, the amount of gear in Elden Ring is insane.
Yeah.
So you'd hope they'd be able to create some variety out of that. And then also I would and I think they've confirmed there's some kind of progression between runs, but I hope that's quite an in-depth system because
Well, yeah. Yeah.
having yeah, having a feeling of like, you know, like a meta progression between your different runs so that you feel like each run you do is actually progressing towards a kind of making you more powerful for your next one. I think that would also add a lot to the staying power of the game.
Well, yeah. I think the gold standard of roguelikes to me are probably, I don't know if this is going to be a hot take, but I would say the absolute gold standard are games like Hades or Returnal. Returnal's my personal favorite. And what I think Returnal did excellently was pushing you um, into those new runs, not only from, that meta progression from your own character growing more powerful, getting your weapons more powerful, getting new upgrades, but also from
Yeah.
a narrative point of view, you know,
Yeah.
um, which maybe in an explicit sense isn't going to be, I don't think will be Night Rain's sort of strength.
I don't think
Um,
so either.
so it'll definitely live and die by, as you said, the upgrades between runs, which I think they're going to do. But again, we haven't seen an extended run of how it looks like on an individual level. So I think, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But there's still a lot of unanswered questions. But I trust in the quality of FromSoft, and I don't think they'd go out and release a title they didn't absolutely believe in. I think it was something like someone would have pitched this idea and fleshed it out, and it must have worked really, really well for them to put it out. Because again, it's a very rogue idea.
Yeah.
Um, no pun intended. But yeah, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I think that's what they said, right? Like they said, it's not directed by Miyazaki, but I think the director had an idea for this kind of smaller scale, I guess, lower budget project. Obviously, it's using a lot of the assets from Elden Ring, so it's not as expensive to make. But um, it sounded like they are aware that people like the co-op in their games, but the systems are pretty archaic. So they're
Yeah,
like, let's give people a really fun co-op experience. Let's design the game around co-op. And also, to be fair, I think they're releasing it at a lower price, so I think that's a good thing.
yeah.
Where my first reaction to the trailer was like I was a bit worried. It felt like a bit of a cash grab, especially like the fact that it was pulling in all these assets from Dark Souls. It's like, oh, you're just recycling stuff from Dark Souls as well as Elden Ring. I've warmed up to it a little bit, given that it's this kind of like spin-off universe, and they've said there's this law that you're pulling in enemies from other universes. But like, I guess if it's a cheaper game and they're just saying hey, this isn't the next major game we're working on. This is just a fun little side project, so people can have some fun playing co-op, and we can put out a game quite quickly. While obviously, I'm assuming they're working on their big next thing in the background.
Yeah.
I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be good to play. One problem I have with this is that it's either one player or three player. Like it should
Yeah,
be three
very
player.
weird design choice. I was going to bring
Yeah,
that up. It's a very, very weird
yeah,
design choice.
yeah.
You have to just pray and hope you've got you've got a
And
group
we're
of
we're
three to play.
lucky we have a third.
We are lucky, and we've got backups as well. It seems. So
Yeah,
I think we're settled. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people I think play those games with one friend only. So
yeah.
very weird design choice. I'm not sure why, but yeah,
It must be a balancing thing, but it's really weird.
yeah.
Um, but the other thing that I am excited about with this game is some of the mechanics look really cool. So the new movement mechanics, like it looks like you can sprint a lot faster, kind of like in Sekiro. You can do the wall jump like in Sekiro. It looks like there's possibly a parrying system or something along those lines
Look like a
in the
Sekiro
trailer.
parry. Yep, and
Look like a Sekiro parry.
I think that's all class based.
Okay.
I know the movement isn't, but in terms of like those abilities, like your parrying and that sort of stuff, each class has its own ultimate ability. Again, it's very unlike FromSoft, which is why I think it's
Yeah.
interesting. I mean, it's not like they haven't bit off, industry trends before, but they always put their own unique spin on it or enhance it in some way. So we'll see if they're able to do that. I
Yeah.
think one thing the trailer and the announcement of this game made me realize I want a boss rush mode in all the Souls games. I just
Oh,
want to
absolutely.
I want to be able to fight Nameless King without having to go through like Farron Keep and Dark Souls 3. I just want to fight him
Yeah.
straight off rip.
I agree. Yeah, I think that's a cool part about this game.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I think it's cool to see from experiment with the base mechanics, like the movement, the kind of base combat mechanics a little bit more. I would like to see their next game. I want it to be a big RPG, like Elden Ring or like the other Souls games. But I would love to see it mess around a little bit more with the core gameplay, like Sekiro and Bloodborne did.
for sure. Yeah, I for me personally, I really want a tight interconnected world for the next Souls game. That just personal preference, but I really hope like a Bloodborne 2 or something would be great.
I want something new. Like, don't need a sequel, but yeah,
Yeah, I
I get
know.
what you
We'll
mean.
we'll see what they come up with. I'm sure they'll come up with something great. Yeah.
But yeah, no. So this game looks fun. Excited to try it. We got the network test coming up pretty soon.
On
Um,
Valentine's Day.
yeah, I've signed up for that. I'm not sure if you just get in by default or if you have
No,
to be selected. I think you have
you'd
to be
be selected.
selected.
It was the same with Elden Ring.
Yeah, but
Elden Ring
anyway,
had,
we'll
yeah.
get some gameplay. That'll be fun to watch,
Mm.
and kind of find out what this game is. I reckon we might get this one in the first half of the year if the network test is happening already in February.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably depend on how the network test goes a little bit, I guess. See if the service can handle it. Because this is a biggest sort of
Yeah, they got to
online
get their
project.
multiplayer stuff right.
Yeah, and in the past it has not been right in terms of like play latency and
Yeah,
hit registration is just sometimes
yeah,
really awful and borderline unplayable. So I
yeah.
imagine a lot of the network test stuff will be obviously some balancing things, but also making sure the servers can handle it.
Yeah, and it's also a bummer on this one with no cross-platform play.
Yeah, yeah, that sucks. That is again for a co-op game, for a game that's designed around co-op, they're making you jump through a lot of hoops to make it to make it work.
Yeah. I guess they're taking baby steps, but
Baby
they're
steps, yeah,
still a fair bit behind in terms of multiplayer.
yeah.
All right. Anything else you want to say on Night Rain, or would you like to tell me about a game that you're excited for?
I want to dive into Ninja Gaiden 4.
Oh, mate, do it.
Incredible. Um, at the last Game Awards, I was talking about at our last podcast about potential things we want to see at the Game Awards, but didn't really believe we would see. I talked about Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance 2 from Platinum Games, which obviously was never going to happen. But this is, I guess, the next best thing. A Ninja Gaiden game made by Platinum Games. The trailer was incredible. Seems like there's a
Yeah.
bigger
What happened
focus.
when you woke up yesterday? Tell the audience.
Josh messaged me and he goes, "You almost got Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance 2." So I'm scrambling. I don't know what the heck is going on. Thinking there's a remake, maybe, but I think Ninja Gaiden 4 by Platinum Games just edges out a Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance remake. So very very happy with that. And the other big thing was that they shadow dropped Ninja Gaiden Black 2, or Ninja Gaiden 2 Black,
Yep.
which is a remake in Unreal Engine 5. I've played about an hour of this so far, and it is really, really fun. I can tell that it's going to be super addicting. The combat flows really well. It's unlike other hack and slash games I've played, like Devil May Cry, and I think there's a less focus on style, as in Devil May Cry, you're actively looking to, string together different combos to get your style meter up. Ninja Gaiden 2 Black seems to be a difficult game, and it's not so much concerned about trying to string together combos. Of course you can, and it looks really cool, and it's really satisfying when you do so.
Yep.
But it's more about efficiently dispatching your enemies, because there's a lot of them, and they can gank up on you,
They hit pretty hard.
and they hit pretty hard. So really, really fun. And when I say it didn't, the focus isn't stylish. That's not to say it isn't, because the game is really stylish. There's a ton of like different, I guess, execution animations. In my hour, I mean, for a game that came out in 2008, there's a lot in there, and the combat system is really, really good. And to see what Platinum Games can do with it, wish that seems like a match made in heaven. Very keen for that one.
Yeah, what a sick announcement, right? Like I was pretty keen for this Xbox Developer Direct because I was keen on Doom, which I guess we can talk about later, but um was not expecting a Ninja Gaiden announcement, and I'm kind of like I've always been familiar. I've heard about it, heard it was actually like pretty hard series, and but they're some of the best like kind of action games ever made. And I saw the trailer for 4, and I was like, oh my god, that looked like the aesthetic awesome. The combat looks super fun. So I was instantly sold as someone who's never ever played a Ninja Gaiden game. And then they're just like, yeah, okay, Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. Yep, you can play it right now. It's on Xbox Game Pass. Sure thing, I'll download it right now. That's what I said. I did. I played it. I'm probably similar to you, about an hour in. Dude, this game is so much fun. Like,
Ridiculously good. Yeah.
it is so fun, and it's I love the gore, which sounds kind of messed up, but
Yeah.
it's so satisfying, and like just how it's really cool how you're hacking and slashing, you're chopping off limbs, and then when the enemies become delimbed, they almost become like more desperate, so they start like jumping on you with their one arm and stabbing you with a grenade and stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's freaking crazy. So much fun, and yeah, the combat's very satisfying. Um, I, I'm I struggled a lot with the first boss. I'm not sure if you did as well. I died quite a few times, and I'm playing on normal, so I'm kind of crap at the game. But it's
Yeah, there's. I
still a
think.
lot
I
of
think there's
fun.
a steeper learning curve, and I think I said this to you earlier today. But I mean, I've played a lot of hack and slash games, so maybe I feel a little bit more comfortable. I still struggled a fair bit with some of the encounters,
Yeah,
in the first chapter even. So I think for you, it's a pretty tough introduction to the hack and slash genre, but it's a very good one as well. I think a very good one to start with.
yeah. It's I don't know. It just there's something about it. Part of it's just the visuals. I just really like how the game looks. I like the this weird like mix of like ninja and futuristic.
Yeah.
And it's kind of silly. Like I don't know what people think of the stories in these games. I have no idea.
I think
Seems
most people
kind of
think they're dog shit, to be
oh
honest.
yeah, exactly. So it seems pretty goofy.
Yeah.
But that just kind of makes it more fun when it's just this silly, like over the top, goofy, like
Yeah.
ninja action movie with like sci-fi stuff going on, like and like monsters at the same time. I don't know. It's cool. It's just it's goofy, but it's man, it's a lot of fun. I can see myself getting addicted to this one pretty quick. I
Yeah.
reckon I'll smash through Ninja Gaiden 2 Black pretty quick, and then I don't know. I think you said you wanted to play the whole series. I don't know
Yeah.
if I will, but I'm definitely going to download Ninja Gaiden 4
Yeah.
when that drops.
Well, yeah, I've got the Master Collection already installed. I had played like maybe a couple of hours of the first one, Ninja Gaiden Sigma, which is, I guess, the version they released for the remake. There's a whole conversation about whether the
Yeah,
Ninja Gaiden Black. We're not going to get into that because
no, we don't. We
there's,
probably don't know enough.
we don't know enough, and there's just too many to keep track of. To be honest, I'm just going to play the newest ones. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm very keen to play through them all to prepare myself for Ninja Gaiden 4 because I guess these sorts of games are like they're they're a genre I really am fond of,
You
and
love
I've
them.
been yeah I love them so much. Just stringing together combos and
Yeah,
ah yeah, and the weapon diversity already. I mean, I don't know how many weapons you've come across, but I'm on my fourth weapon now, in
yeah. I've got three.
a very short time. So I'm very keen to see what else the game throws at us.
Yeah, I'm running the Raptors talons. They're like
Oh,
they're like
so good.
Wolverine claws.
Oh,
It's so
so
cool.
good. They are ridiculously fun.
Yeah, I didn't realize that the game had like different weapons and stuff. Again,
Yeah.
I guess I just knew nothing about the series, but yeah, I was pretty surprised to find, oh, there's like a fair amount of weapons and like you can upgrade the weapons and stuff like that. So
Funnily
seems like
enough, I vaguely remember playing Ninja Gaiden Black on the original Xbox when I was a kid, and I just remember it being way too hard. I couldn't do it, so I guess. But I
now
was
you're a
like,
big boy.
yeah, now I'm a big boy. I can tackle
You can do it.
it. Hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah, so Ninja Gaiden 4, what a cool surprise at that Xbox Direct. Just out of nowhere and then like just shadow dropping the remake of 2 as well at the same time. Like damn. I mean, while we're on the theme of Microsoft, I'm looking at this list of games coming out this year and I'm like, "Oh my God, like Xbox has finally hit it. They've finally hit their stride
Hmm.
and they're going to have an absolutely killer year
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah.
Like it's actually insane, and it's so ironic that they've just recently thrown in the towel um, on competing. I guess at least in
And
selling content.
hardware. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, they're not. They've given up on exclusive games. They're going all in on being third party. But damn, like what a year to I guess have an Xbox or have a PC and have access to Game Pass. So I'm just going to read out a bunch of games um, and then we can talk about any that we're interested in. So you've got Doom: The Dark Ages. That's in May. Avowed is in February. We've got Fable at some point this year. Outer Worlds 2 set for this year. Um, there'll obviously be a new Call of Duty. And there's also some rumors, again, not confirmed, but there's rumors that potentially the Gears of War E-Day is targeting 2025 as well. Mate, tell me that's not like a killer lineup.
yeah. I mean, it's pretty incredible. The I guess concerning thing is that I think Avowed and Fable maybe have question marks over them.
Yeah,
I've
the previews for Avowed have been pretty positive recently. Like I think a lot of
yeah.
people were a bit skeptical on that, but
Yeah,
seems like it's winning people over.
yeah. I mean, I think the art styles are maybe a little bit off-putting to me, but the combat
Yeah,
flow looks really fun, and I'm sure Obsidian know how to craft a pretty good RPG. So I'm pretty sure that'll be good. Fable, if it's coming out in 2025, I don't think we've had an extended look at gameplay yet,
nah, we haven't.
but I'm
My,
sure.
my
Yeah,
yeah, my guess is that'll be a game that comes out in the second half of the year, so towards the end of the year, and I imagine they'll do a big blowout showcase
yeah,
in their mid-year Xbox event.
yeah,
So, yeah, Fable is an interesting one. Like I haven't played the old games. They seem like I like the idea in theory of this like RPG, which is just again like kind of has this weird, goofy British sense of humor where you can do all this like dumb stuff, but you can also like become like cartoonishly good or cartoonishly evil. That's my understanding of kind of what the series is like. So I don't know if this game turns out good. I'll give it a crack. It seems pretty fun. But we yeah, you're right. We haven't really seen much of it so
But
far.
yeah, if those games hit, that's like what 4 or 5 big first party successes for Microsoft, which we haven't seen that in a console generation in a very long time, in one year, one calendar
Yeah,
year. Like
I
even at Sony's peak, they usually do maybe one or two really
one
big
or
ones.
two.
I would
Yeah.
say the last one's probably The Last of Us 2 and Ghost of Tsushima as two big
Well,
successes in the
that
same
that
year.
was a good year for Sony. They
Yeah,
had Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima. They also launched the PS5 with Spider-Man and Astro Bot. So that was actually a pretty
and
bang
Demon
year.
Souls remake as well.
And Damon, yeah, and Damon, that's actually a massive year for
That
Sony.
yeah,
But
that is a big year for Sony. Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, for Xbox, like obviously Xbox haven't really had a big year in a while. Like 2023, I think they had Starfield, didn't hit the way they wanted it to. Last year was pretty good for them. At the end, they had Black Ops and Indiana Jones. Um, and then before that, I think the last time they really got some momentum, but then it kind of faded off, was when they dropped Halo Infinite and Forza Horizon 5
Yeah.
about a month apart. That was pretty good for Xbox, and then they lost the momentum by releasing nothing in 2022.
Yeah, this just seems like that there's a bigger focus this year on, single player games, which are usually, Sony's thing.
Yeah.
Um, but you're gonna have Call of Duty every year for them, which is crazy.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's big. Like the
that
fact
is
that that's
massive.
just included on your subscription.
Wonder how long it'll take for them to justify the investment. Well,
Yeah,
I don't think
I
very
mean
long to
it's
be honest. If
I
they
think
own Call of Duty.
Black Ops 6 was still the best-selling game of last year, I'm pretty sure. So like even though
Yeah,
it's on Game Pass, it still sells a bunch on other platforms. So
yeah,
they're doing all right. But I really want to talk to you about Doom Dark Ages.
yeah, man. Tell me why you're excited.
Well, so I've already ranted about this on the podcast, but I guess the new gameplay, I'm still super excited. So they've taken Doom Eternal. That's one of my favorite shooters. So I feel like we don't get too many great shooter campaigns anymore. We don't get them very often. If I think about the great ones from the past decade, right? The 2010s plus the 2020s so far, I can probably count like the amount of like iconic great first person shooters on one hand, and that's like Titanfall 2, Doom 2016, Doom Eternal, I guess maybe the Wolfenstein games, even though they're probably not as well known. Um, what else? Like Halo, it's still around, but it doesn't hit the way it used to when it was,
Or
Halo 1, 2,
Metro,
and 3.
the Metro series, pretty
Yeah,
good.
yeah. I haven't played those, and I
Yeah,
know
I
they're
know.
pretty low, so that's a good point. But yeah, there's just not that many of these kind of big single player, kind of 10 to 15-hour campaigns. You
Yeah,
play it, it's short, it's action packed, it's done. We don't get those that often, and the Doom series, I reckon, is the best example of them at the moment. Doom Eternal, again, it's one of my favorite shooters because it's just so like, obviously it's like technically it's incredible, like the graphics, how smooth it runs, but then you've got just this awesome gameplay system where you're kind of flying around in the air, you're juggling your different guns, got a whole bunch of different demons. They have weak points which you can kind of target with certain guns, but you don't have to, which I think some people criticize it. I don't think you need to use any specific gun to kill any specific demon. But you're kind of flying around, you're trying to manage your ammo, your health, your shields at the same time. And you've got different abilities which can help you to recharge those by, lighting demons on fire or by doing glory kills. So it's just this crazy, like, kind of resource management element going on whilst you're like platforming around these crazy arenas shooting these demons. So I love Doom Eternal, and then with this game, they've just made a completely different game. It looks like so they said Doom Eternal, you're in a fighter jet. Doom the Dark Ages, you're in a tank. So
I think
um,
they said Doom, run and
run
gun.
and gun, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Doom Eternal, jump and gun.
Mhm.
Dark Ages, stand and fight.
Yeah.
So what did they do? They gave you a shield which can like absorb incoming fire, but you can also throw it and it kind of bounces around like Captain America. Captain America's shield. You've got a mace, which you can yeah just like whack demons with. they were talking about a brand new kind of glory kill system. It's more in depth. And then you've got it looks like a bunch of brand new guns, and I love some of the guns in this game. Like they just look so over the top, brutal and ridiculous. But I think that's exactly what you want in a Doom game. Plus, you've got a mech and a dragon with like Gatling guns on its back. Like, I don't know, this game looks insane, and that's exactly what I'm here for with the Doom game. But yeah, like, what did you think? Are you gonna have a crack at it?
Well, I'm definitely gonna have a crack at it. As someone that's not as close with the Doom franchise as you are, I really appreciate that, like, their commitment to innovation. I mean, I feel like
Yeah,
it would have been very, very easy to just release Doom, like, given the success of Doom Eternal, you could have just done Doom Eternal 2.
yeah,
I think the other thing was, I think Doom the Dark Ages was a pretty big shock to most. I think all leaks were pointing towards them rebooting Quake. Um,
yeah. There were quite a few rumors about that.
Yeah, and so for them to just say, fuck it, we're doing like a medieval dark fantasy, and you get a Captain America shield, and there's going to be a bigger focus on parrying and deflecting, like that, it gave that
Yeah,
sort of arcade shooter vibe. Like some of the gameplay that I saw was very reminiscent of Returnal in terms of how you've got like these waves of bullets that you're meant to dodge and stuff.
yeah.
And there's one clip where they're shooting these vertical slices at you, and some of them are blue, so you dodge them, and then the green one
And you
comes up,
can,
so parry it, and that looks really really fun.
yep.
Um, so yeah, I'm definitely gonna give it a crack. I'll probably try and give uh, Doom Eternal another crack before the Dark Ages
But you,
comes up.
but you don't need to, and that's the beauty of it, right? Like I
Yeah,
think
that's
these
true.
games they stand alone enough that you don't need to feel like you're forced to go play Doom Eternal. Because
Mm.
I know you've tried that before, and you felt maybe it wasn't as fast as like other games like in the indie space, like Ultra Kill.
Yeah.
But you can just jump into the Dark Ages, and I think like you know the game will stand perfectly fine on its own. I mean, story wise, it's a prequel to 2016, but like you're probably not playing Doom for the story anyway. So.
Yeah, I mean, the my awareness of the story is literally you're a dude that was made to kill demons. Is there anything else?
It's about right. I mean, yeah, you just yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's actually no, I'm underselling it. There is like this surprisingly like crazy deep lore, and they have it all in
Ah,
the
okay.
codexes in Doom
Yeah,
Eternal.
yeah, yeah.
Doom Eternal. There's like all these factions from heaven and hell, and
Oh wow. Yeah, fair enough.
it's actually pretty crazy. But like, I don't think most people play it for that. So
Yeah.
you play it to rip and tear, and they're going to let you rip and tear pretty good in this one. I really like that you brought up that element of like the kind of dodging the bullets, like similar to Returnal. I
Mhm.
noticed that as well, and I think that's part of how they've changed up the gameplay in that they slowed it down.
It's more deliberate.
Um, yeah, so that the it looks like very much the movement is slowed down. You're definitely much more grounded. You're not flying around the air like you are in Doom Eternal. And I guess in that, yeah, they're probably it looks like they're putting more of a focus on like yeah dodging projectiles as they come in, yeah parrying the occasional one. I think that's really cool. Like I agree with you that it's so easy for them. It would have been so easy for them to just make a Doom Eternal number 2, just
Yeah.
copy paste. And they, to be fair, they could have done the same thing when they were making Doom Eternal. They could have just copied Doom 2016. But each time they're reinventing themselves, and I feel like that's quite uncommon for game sequels these days. There's a lot of sequels. I can say things like God of War Ragnarok or Spider-Man 2, which they take the original game, they improve on it a little bit. They definitely, they improve the mechanics, but they don't overhaul it. They don't make a different style game. They're just it's iterative,
Yeah,
but
that's right.
they're really changing it up with each Doom game, and I appreciate that. If they want to keep doing this, keep on making Doom games. If you run out of ideas, make Quake and go do something different.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, id Software, they're the goats of single player first person shooters right now.
Yeah, I think they're untouchable, really.
They're so good, and this the engine that it runs on, id Tech, is also fantastic. Like just visually, these games look so good, but they run butter smooth, which is just nice. It's kind of rare these days.
Yeah, yeah. Very bug free from my experience in Doom Eternal, to be honest. I think yeah, to be honest, one of the more cleaner runs I've had of a game on my PC, because I've had some issues with a lot of games on my PC, but Doom Eternal nothing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Id Software, they're doing They're doing some pretty fantastic work. I'm very keen to play Doom: The Dark Ages. It's exactly my kind of just
Yeah.
ridiculous over the top first person shooter.
Speaking of first-person shooters, I wanted to quickly mention
Yeah,
Judas. Um,
yeah, mate.
I'm not going to pretend I know a lot about this game or what it's about. I guess the selling point for me is that the people that made Bioshock are making this game. And I
Yep.
guess I'm using it as an excuse to talk about how good Bioshock is. I replayed it recently last year, and it's probably shot up to like one of my top three games of all time. I remember playing it vaguely as a kid, and again, I don't think it's a game you should you should play as a kid because I didn't really understand what was going on, and then it got too scary for me, so I never quite finished it. But yeah, replaying it as an adult last year, the story floored me. It got me good. I don't want to spoil anything, but it got me damned good. And also the combat systems are really unique for the time, and it seems like they expanded upon that in the second one and Bioshock Infinite. But I guess the main thing about that game was the setting and the atmosphere
Yeah.
and the way they were able to draw you into the world and make it feel like I guess lived in, or in this case, not very lived in. It used to be lived in, and that's what makes you feel like the atmosphere is incredible. So
Yeah.
to see what they're cooking up now is going to be yeah. I'm very keen for this one. Again, just because they've made Bioshock.
Yeah, this is a nice reminder for me to play BioShock. I do have it downloaded. I just playing too many other games, but yeah, I've just ranted about how I love good single player first person shooters. So I mean, I really should play BioShock.
Yeah, Bioshock is an absolute must play for anyone that has never played
Yeah,
Bioshock. If you like games in general, play Bioshock. So you don't even have to like first person shooters. It's incredible.
yeah. No, but I'm glad you brought up Judas. So just refresh me a little bit on what this game is, right? So it's a is it there's some kind of procedural generation or procedural aspect to it? Is it the dialogue or something or the storytelling?
I don't even know, dude. I was under the impression it's like a first person narrative, so I could be completely off the mark here, to be honest.
No, I could be off again. I've watched stuff about Judas quite a while ago, but I've forgotten it. But I remember there was some kind of like there was something about the story will change or evolve in some kind of
I mean,
unscripted way. But I can't remember. But it seemed pretty interesting, and the gameplay looked pretty cool.
yeah, I mean, I'd be a bit cautious. I'm always cautious with procedural
Yeah,
generation stuff because I mean, a lot of the stuff in BioShock was very deliberate in terms of the way the story moved and twisted and turned, um, and making you feel the emotions as you go through. Again, all very deliberate. So I mean, procedural generation could be. I mean, especially related to stories. I don't know. Seems
I could
I
be completely wrong here,
I don't
so
want another
don't.
Skyrim situation where they
Yeah,
procedurally generate their quests.
yeah. I could be using the wrong word. It might be something like randomized versus procedure generated. I'm not sure, but
Yeah, we'll
I
see how that goes. I mean, if it's the people that made Bioshock, I'm sure they're making something quite memorable.
yeah. There's a lot of these games. I feel like these days where they it's like the person or people responsible for some legendary game kind of come out and make like a spiritual successor. Like a recent example is the Callisto Protocol, right? Like
Oh, I'm
the
so
creators
disappointed how that
said,
turned out, dude.
yeah. Another one that comes like this from a while ago, but another one is like Ukulele was like a spiritual successor to Banjo Kazooie,
Uh,
which I don't think was received as well either. So you just hope that this does turn out really good, and it's not another one of these like from the creator of, and then it comes out and it's like that's just not as good as the original.
I remember being so hyped for Callisto Protocol. I can't believe you mentioned that. Like, Dead Space set in a abandoned prison facility with an increased focus on melee combat. That sounds from the creators of Dead Space sounded absolutely incredible. But luckily, Dead Space remake came out and solved everything because that game's really good.
Yeah. That's that was a bit ironic.
Yeah, I know.
Dead
Just
Space, man.
stick with the classics. Stick with what
Yeah.
works.
Yeah, but no, I agree. Judas is an interesting one to watch. I'll definitely be watching it and keen to see how it goes and keen to hear your thoughts on it when you play it.
Yeah.
Um, can I jump back to Xbox for a second? I just want to get your thoughts on Gears of War E-Day.
Yeah,
Are you
well,
are
I'm
you hyped for that? If that were to release this year, would you be excited?
very excited. So, I mean, in terms of my console journey, I jumped from a PS3 to Xbox, and I remember the first game I got on Xbox was Gears of War 2, and I played that game absolutely religiously after the campaign, beat the campaign, and then got really addicted to Horde mode, um, which is really good. Then Gears of War 3 came out, got that instantly, beat that. Then I moved back to PlayStation, so I haven't gone back into the Gears of War series. The last Gears of War game I played was Judgment, Gears of War Judgment, which was a spin-off that released after Gears of War 3 but before Gears of War 4. So I have not played Gears of War 4 or 5. I know that you have. Um, but to me, I mean, I'm just looking forward to kind of a next generation version of the Gears of War games. I mean,
Yeah.
more glorious dismemberment, um, all that sort of stuff. I think the Gears of War series in itself is quite iterative. I don't see how you
Yeah.
change it up too much, and I don't think they really need to. Um, I mean, maybe you've grown tiresome of it after playing it 4 and 5. And maybe that they haven't iterated enough, but and I've had a bit of a break from it. But
Yep.
I'm just keen to dive back into that nostalgic feeling of jumping into cover. Executing those perfect reloads.
Yep.
Um, I mean, I think the level design for a cover shooter is still unmatched in terms of
Yeah,
like
it's really good.
enemy placement and the way that enemies approach you, and you've got the snipers shooting you. They'll throw nades at you. They'll flank you. That sort of stuff. I haven't really seen that in a cover shooter since maybe the Division 2. But the setting of Gears of War to me is much more interesting than again another post-apocalyptic game, I guess. Um, so very keen to dive back into that series now that I'm able to play it. I'm not locked to one console or whatever. Interestingly enough, it'll probably come to PlayStation as well. So,
Yeah, probably will.
and
Yeah,
this is a prequel, right? So we're looking at Marcus.
that's right. So
Yeah.
I'm actually really excited about Gears of War E-Day. And I so before this game was announced, I think last year I was like, well, we're coming up on the time where they're going to announce Gears of War 6. Am I excited? It was kind of in the bucket of like, yeah, I'll probably play it. I'll probably have fun, but I'm not excited for it. Like, I'm not super hyped, but I'll probably play it and have fun because so about what 2016, I think I played through the original Gears trilogy. I really love them. I played through them before Gears 4 came out, and then I didn't end up getting Gears 4. Um, but I love the original trilogy, and they're just like part of that is they're gritty. They have really good shooting mechanics.
Yeah.
But the story in those original Gears games, it's it's the same kind of nostalgia I have for the original Halo trilogy, where it's just this like it's not the deepest story, but it conjures up a lot of emotions
Oh, I
and
remember Gears
especially
of War 3 had a really
yeah
emotional, but I can't really remember, but I remember
it
it hitting me.
yeah it hits you
Yeah.
for a story about these big burly men shooting these big monsters basically. The characters in those games had a surprising amount of depth, and they're very easy to get attached to, and it had these like surprisingly emotional moments in that trilogy. So I love the original trilogy. I did eventually get around to playing 4 and 5 a few years later, and like technically they're fantastic games. The shooting, the mechanics and stuff are all really polished. They play really well, but the new Gears games, they just didn't quite grab me on the same level with the story and the setting. Um, they in some ways they kind of repeat. Um, they kind of just repeat the setting of the original, but with like kind of a new but not really new enemy. And but the main thing I think for me was the characters. I just wasn't attached to them
Mm.
in the same way as I was attached to the original characters of Marcus Dom, Baird, Coltrane. Like I love those characters, and I never got those emotional moments. They went for them in the new games, but they didn't hit the same because I just wasn't attached to the characters in the same way. So with Gears 6, I was like, yeah, the game's gonna be really fun. Like I've had fun with 5 especially. I had a lot of fun with, um, but the story was kind of why I love that original trilogy so much, and I wasn't excited on a story basis for Gears 6. Then they announced Gears of War E-Day. They're like, yep, we're doing a prequel, Marcus Dom, back to that really dark, gritty tone of the original games. Yeah, you've got me. Like I'm sold. I'm so excited for Gears of War again. Like this is actually the perfect thing they could have done, at least in my opinion, to revive the hype for the series. Gears 6, I think people would have been excited, but kind of like eh. But Gears of War E-Day, the reception I've seen, like people are so excited to go back to Marcus and Dom and see how the whole war kind of began. Um, and I've ranted long enough, but the other thing is so underrated. They brought back of War in the title because they remember they called Gears 5. They just called it Gears 5,
Yeah, that's the crazy
and that was
decision.
so stupid.
Yeah. If you're
Thank
gonna,
God they brought back Gears of War E Day.
if you're gonna just switch the
Thank
name
you.
like that, why don't you just reboot the series at that point? Like, the,
Let's just don't take it away. Like Gears of War has character. Gears is just a bland, boring word. Like Gears of War that has character, and
yeah.
that's don't take that away. I don't want to say that they were softening the series or taking away the grit,
They went woke.
but no, come on. But um, they kind of they just yeah, it didn't. It was such a bad move taking away of War from the
Yeah,
title,
for
and I'm
sure.
so happy that they put it back. So I don't know. Everything about Gears of War E Day actually has me really hyped to play Gears again. Um, and selfishly, I hope that they just continue with this direction for the series. If they never kind of finish the story with six, I know there's some people who'd be disappointed, but I wouldn't be too fast.
Yeah, I was gonna ask because doesn't Gears 5 end on a bit of a cliffhanger? That's what I've read
Massive
online.
cliffhanger.
It's a
Massive.
massive, yeah, and you're still not keen. You'd rather the prequel and finish off that story.
Look, well, I get that some people will want to finish the story, and I guess maybe it's fair to them that it gets finished. Me, I'm not really invested. If Gears of War E Day is a banger, which it really looks like a banger, I would rather get a whole like E Day trilogy. um, but I don't know. I
Well,
the announcement of this is just like it's revived my hype for Gears. This is like, yep, I'm keen to play Gears of War again.
well, yeah, I think you bring up an interesting point about whether this is going to be a sort of spin-off before the next main line, or whether this is a new direction. I mean, it
Yeah,
does scream a bit of a spin-off to me, but of course, this
yeah.
has been in development for a while, hasn't it?
So
It's been linked for a
um,
while.
yeah, I mean, my take on it is that I think when they announced the game, they said, this is we wanted to go back and tell the beginning of the story, like kind of how this war started. Because in the original trilogy, I think the war's been going for quite a long time, and you're thrown into the middle of it. Um, and I think they were like, "Yeah, we want to go back. We want to tell how it started, but we do have plans. Don't you worry. We're still going to finish that story we were telling before." But here's the thing: imagine this game goes gangbusters. Everybody loves it. Do you really believe they're going to be like, okay, guys, well, we know you love that, but we've still got, however many years between this game and the original trilogy, but, we just got to go finish that other trilogy first. Like, surely they're not going to do that.
I mean, we'll see. I d- we'll see, I guess. Not much else to
Yeah,
say. It's all conjecture.
yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Gears of War E-Day, maybe 2025. Maybe it's not even 2025, but I just wanted to talk about how exciting this announcement was. This is bringing back the Gears of War hype for me, at least.
For sure.
Is there other games you would like to talk about?
Hmm.
There's a couple more that I'm interested in, but I'm keen to hear what you've got on your radar.
I mean, a game series that I've been keeping my eye on for a little bit and haven't really dipped my toes in too far yet are the Yakuza games.
Hmm.
And the new Yakuza game, which they're releasing this year, I think in a couple of months, is what seems like to be a pirate simulator.
What's the name? Can you remember the name?
It's Yakuza Like a Dragon Pirate in Hawaii.
Pirate Dragon in Hawaii, is it? Or
Pirate,
something
yes,
crazy.
something crazy. Um,
Oh, no, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii.
Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. That's right. Um, what an interesting name. But yeah,
Right.
from what I've seen about of the Yakuza series in general, I mean, the combat doesn't look the deepest mechanically or anything like that, but the writing, the settings they put in, the mini games. I just wanna like become a Yakuza in Japan, just play poker and get rich that way. It seems crazy the amount of mini games they put put in those games, and to see them put it in Hawaii as a pirate, it's gonna get really, really wacky, and it's gonna get really, really weird.
Yeah, I think those games are known for being pretty wacky. They
Oh,
seem
very
they seem
wacky.
very funny.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I really want to start get into that series, but it's a very daunting series to get into. I mean, it's all particularly story driven, so I don't think you can just jump in with the newest one. Um,
You had a game plan, right?
I had a game plan. I had Yakuza 0, which was downloaded, but if that's getting put on the back burner because of Ninja Gaiden. And then the Yakuza 7 and the Yakuza 8. But
Nice.
again, that's a game plan over 3 or 4 years, I think. These games are behemoths,
Wait, so
each of them.
Yakuza 8 has already released, and
Yeah,
is
so
the new one going to be like Yakuza 9,
no, so
or is
yeah,
this
so the one
spin-off?
coming the one that's coming out this year is a spin-off. They're not strictly named Yakuza 7, but it's Yakuza Like a Dragon is Yakuza 7, and then Yakuza Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth is Yakuza 8. Like those are mainline entries that introduce a new character, whereas Yakuza 0 is kind of prequel story to kind
Yeah.
of set the scene for the world. So apparently that's a really, really good one to start with story-wise, and then you can kind of pick and choose which protagonist you want to start with, and obviously I'm going to start with the newest one. But again,
Uh,
that's a game plan of a very long time because they're massive games, and I'm just simply not going to have the time to start a new series this year, I don't think.
yeah. No, I'm sure this game will be pretty good. I think they've all been received pretty well, right? Especially the recent ones.
Yeah, I think Yakuza 8 was the highest rated the series has ever been.
Yeah.
And Donkey loves it, and I trust Donkey.
Oh, if Donkey loves it, it's going to be great.
That's right.
Um, what are your thoughts on The Outer Worlds 2? So they dropped a trailer for that at the Game Awards, and I was really surprised to see that they're dropping that in 2025, given that they're also releasing Avowed in the same year, same studio.
Yeah, I wonder if I was going to ask about that. I wonder if that's like a different team or something, because there's two big
I assume it's
RPGs in the
the
same
same
year.
thing.
It's got
Yeah,
to be, right? To me, the setting of Outer Worlds 2 seems a lot more interesting than the setting of Avowed. I
I
think
agree.
I think the writing and the art style and the world look it's like very funny.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I
I
agree.
I think it's infinitely more interesting than your again another fantasy RPG. Um, so I think Outer Worlds 2 is definitely the one I'm looking forward to more compared to Avowed from Obsidian.
Yeah,
But never played the Outer Worlds 1. I know that a lot of people criticize the world structure. I think it's a lot of maps kind of stitched together. It's not an open world. So you got like a map you would go to and you go explore that and go to the next one sort of thing. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm kind of down for a more linear RPG that's not this massive open world that you have to sink 100 hours into to kind of discover everything. So I guess I'm not too opposed to that. But as I said, the main draw for me is the writing. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, I agree. I really liked the trailer they dropped. It was just really funny.
Yeah.
Um, I actually played a bit of The Outer Worlds 1 back when it came out in 2019 on Xbox Game Pass. I played it on my old Xbox One, so it ran terribly. And I think that's what killed it for me because just playing a first-person shooter at 30 frames just feels awful. Um, but I think the little bit of it that I did play, I actually liked it. I thought it was pretty cool. I thought it was funny. Um, so I'm keen to see how this one turns out, especially with them now having kind of Microsoft backing, I assume a bit of a bigger budget. Um, yeah, I like the sense of humor that this game has. Kind of, I mean, it reminds me of Fallout, and I think that's deliberate because they definitely marketed the first game as being like a Fallout kind of spiritual successor, I guess.
It's more wacky than Fallout, you'd say, right?
Yeah, it is more wacky than Fallout, but
Yeah.
it has a similar kind of weird sense of humor, I think.
Yeah, kind
Um,
of like it's like a little bit dark. Yeah,
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 exactly.
yeah.
So I'm interested in this one. Again, I think like this kind of game for me, I agree. It does come down to the writing, but it also comes down to if it just feels satisfying to play, if the gunplay feels good, things like that. So I know that some people say, it's an RPG. Who cares about how the gunplay feels? For me, it still needs to feel good.
I mean,
Um,
it's the thing you're doing the most at the end of the day. Like,
exactly.
yeah,
And hopefully it has like kind of an interesting world, or I guess interesting worlds to explore. But this one's on my radar. It's not a like at the moment. It's not a must play, but that trailer it won me over a little bit. I was like, yeah, this game looks pretty fun. We'll see how it turns out. And I agree with you. Between Avowed and Outer Worlds 2, this one personally appeals more to me as well. Um, so yeah, that one's interesting. One to keep an eye on. And like it's the kind of game where I don't know if I would be so interested in it if it wasn't releasing on Xbox Game Pass. But for the fact that I basically know I already have the subscription paid for, I'm gonna be able to download it if I want to. That's cool. So maybe I'll give that one a go. A few other games.
I think there's one last one I want to
Yeah.
mention.
Oh, go for it, please.
Um, Silk Song.
Yeah, go on.
Well, I think I've already talked about how hype I am from this game, so I'm not going to go at it from
Yeah.
that perspective. I'm going to go at it from the perspective that I think this game has been marketed absolutely horribly. Horribly. The fact that, we got a trailer maybe 2 years ago now saying the game was coming out within the year, and we've heard absolutely nothing since then, is crazy. I think most people just want a bit of communication as to what's going on. I'm not saying that I'm entitled to it or anything like that, but I don't think you'd be astray to kind of think this game is an absolute development hell, or this game doesn't exist anymore. Because, yeah, I mean, nothing. Like, not even. There's no communication.
Yeah.
There's nothing to say about it really, except that we know that it's going to be good, and it's probably, I think, a scope creep issue, where they keep thinking of things to add, and that's taking time, and then it's going to be a massive behemoth of a game. But
Yeah.
a small studio, I think, maybe a bit of like because at the end of the day, they've missed their release window by a year now, and we've had no
Yeah.
communication about it. I think it's just been handled horribly.
I hope for your sake and for all the other Hollow Knight fans that you get something this year, whether you get the game or
I
you
mean,
at least just get some kind of communication.
like just a tweet.
The
Hollow Knight,
trailer, yeah.
Hollow Knight is coming. I think a lot of
Give
people were
us a
happy.
release year.
A release year, because it's not an issue of, we want it now sort of thing. Again, I'm very willing to
Yeah.
wait and that sort of thing. But does the game even exist anymore? Is a question that needs to be asked, which is crazy.
Yeah. No, fair enough. I agree. I'm praying for you guys. I hope you get something. I hope you get something. All the crazy Silk Song fans. They're all going mad. They
Fingers
deserve it.
crossed.
Put them out of their misery. Um, there's one big thing that we should talk about briefly. The Switch 2 releases this year. We haven't even mentioned that, which
Yeah.
is actually kind of crazy. So the Switch 2 is going to release. Um, we don't really know what game's going to release with it, apart from there's going to be a new Mario Kart.
Mhm.
It looks like. Um, from what I can tell, honestly, I think I'm not too tuned into Nintendo news, and neither are you, right?
No, not really. No.
Yeah, but seems like there's going to be what? So we get Mario Kart, potentially a new 3D Mario. Is I've seen rumors of, but I don't know if there's anything backing that up.
Well, it's 20
Um,
since Odyssey released 7 years ago at this rate. Like, I
yeah,
think a 3D
surely.
Mario. I only assume that the Switch 2 has been delayed. Well, okay, delayed is the wrong word to use because it never got officially announced. But it seems like the Switch 2 has been a thing for like a year and a half. And I have to assume the reason they've pushed it back is because they want some bangers to release with it. Um,
Maybe, yeah.
so I wouldn't be surprised if a new Mario comes. I think the other one was Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah, I was going to mention that.
Yeah, I think that's the
Are
other
any
big
of
one.
those games exciting to you?
A
Is
3D
it?
Mario
Oh,
would be.
would
Um,
you would you pick up a Switch 2 this year? Do you think you will pick
mm,
up a Switch 2?
it heavily depends on the games. If a 3D Mario comes out, but I mean it's a packed year already. Um,
Yeah,
if a 3D Mario comes out and is a banger, I would be down to get one. The thing with 3D Mario games is I'm much more a fan of Mario in a kind of level based scenario where it's like, you get levels to go through. Those collectathons like Odyssey don't really click with me. Again,
yeah,
probably a hot take. I don't think Mario Kart is a system seller. I mean,
Oh, Mario Kart is a system seller, but
oh,
maybe
sorry,
not to
sorry.
us.
For me, to be clear,
Yeah,
for
yeah,
me,
yeah, yeah,
for me.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, Metroid Prime 4, depends how good it is. I'm sure it'll be great. The other rumor I heard is bloody Elden Ring.
Yeah, no, it sounds like a lot of third-party games are going to get ported to Switch, including Elden Ring.
Yeah, and then Breath of the
Um,
Wild enhanced. That was the
yeah,
better part.
so yeah, I think I'm with you. I'm excited that Nintendo fans finally get the Switch too. I'm not going to buy one this year. I would be amazingly surprised with myself if I bought one this year.
It has to be
My
something really amazing.
well, my Switch has been just a Zelda machine. Like
Yeah.
like my Switch has literally, I reckon, 95% of the playtime has been Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. Um,
I'll probably Bayonetta 4.
yeah, okay.
Well, or maybe even Bayonetta 3 enhanced, because the only reason I never picked up Bayonetta
Would you buy a
3,
Switch 2 just for that?
I don't think it'll happen because Platinum Games are too busy with Ninja Gaiden.
Right.
Um, Probably not for Bayonetta 3 enhanced, but yeah, I think next year is when things clear up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that'd be interesting. For me, it would take like a really incredible looking game, and for me, that's probably a new Zelda game would be the thing that would push me into buying Switch.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, pretty exciting. I'm happy. Like I'm excited for, especially for Nintendo fans, that they're going to get, by the looks of it, a lot more third party games on the system, and it is pretty cool that they'll be able to like play Elden Ring handheld,
Yeah.
and those kind of games. But yeah,
If
for
only they had
me,
another device like a Steam Deck.
what's that?
If only they had another device like a Steam Deck.
Well, yeah. To be fair, the Switch 2 might run games, but I think actually I would bet money that it will run games better than a Steam Deck
Because
because it's going to have
DLSS,
DLSS.
yeah, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So I think it'll actually be pretty good. But for me, the value of the Steam Deck is in how it seamlessly syncs with your Steam library.
And then also the form factor. I mean, the form
Mm.
factor of the Steam Deck is incredible. I
The Switch is bigger.
bigger screen? Is it a bigger screen as well?
It's bigger screen.
Yeah, but like even like Steam Deck has the back paddles and the like the L2 R2.
That's true.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you'd have to completely remap the controls for Elden Ring, right?
No, it'll play fine.
We'll see.
It'll play fine on Switch. But anyway, yeah. So Switch 2, very exciting, but maybe not one for either of us
Yeah,
this year at least.
yeah.
Um, Cool. I think we're going pretty long here. I just want to run through a very speed run of at least some other games that have grabbed my attention.
Mhm.
Um, and feel free to just jump in if you have any comments on them. The big one we haven't mentioned is GTA 6. The reason I haven't talked about GTA 6 is because I went on a rant about it on our very first episode. TLDR, I'm extremely excited for GTA 6, as is the rest of the world. Rockstar Games always make like fantastic games. They're gonna hopefully blow it out of the water again. There is not much I can say about GTA 6 that hasn't already been said, but I think it'll be awesome. I hope that they improve their mission design. That's my only comment.
Do you
A
think
bit more open mission design.
do you think it'll be worth 100 USD?
They will not charge 100 USD for it.
But that's what I'm asking. I'm saying, would you still pay for it if that's what they charged?
If it's actually, how much would that be in Australian dollars? That'd be like nearly $200. I don't think I'd pay that much for a video game. I think that's ridiculous.
Fair enough. Just asking.
I think yeah, no, I actually don't think I would.
Yeah, I mean,
No matter how good it is, I can wait a bit for it to come down.
yeah, because it'll come down quick.
Yeah,
Surely lock a
but
lot
no,
of people out from that. Yeah. Anyway.
it's not going to be $100. It's going to be $70 US,
Mhm.
and it's going to be a really really good game. And I'm extremely excited to play it, and I'm sure you are too.
Mhm.
Yeah, boy. And then yeah, just running down the list of other games that I haven't mentioned. So there's a new Monster Hunter. I think that's next month.
I'm very keen to get Monster Hunter Wilds, but I'm a complete newbie. But I love Capcom, and I've got lots of
Nice.
friends that love Monster Hunter, so I'm very keen to give that a go.
Yeah, that'll be a good one to hear your thoughts on once it comes out. Assassin's Creed Shadows. I think neither of us really care about that.
I to be honest, I was keeping my eye quietly on this one, but from the previews, it doesn't seem like I should be interested anymore. So I think I'm good on Assassin's
Wow,
Creed Shadows.
pretty savvy. I mean, on that topic, Ghost of Yotei.
I mean,
I feel like this is our hottest take that we've dropped on the podcast.
I mean, it's another Ubisoft game, really. In terms of the
Yeah.
open, we'll see. We'll see if they
That
can switch it up because I think
This is the good part of having no viewers is no one's listening to this and they're not hearing us slander on Ghost of Tsushima, the beloved.
to be clear, the aesthetic of Ghost of Tsushima and the combat system I think is overrated, but it's very stylish and it looks really cool, I guess. Um,
Yeah.
so if they can find a way to make it, I guess, more in depth mechanically and encourage real exploration in the open
Yep.
world, not
Yep.
because it is glorified. Here's your marker, go chase it, sort of
It
thing.
is. It's just follow the wind instead of follow the marker.
Yeah, so it's yeah, if they can find ways to innovate in that way, I would be keen, but not something that's top of my priority list at the moment.
And less repetitive open world side
Yeah,
content,
yeah,
right?
yeah. There are problems with that game that people refuse to acknowledge. But anyway,
It's yeah. Anyway, this is the good part of no one listening to us. Um, I mean, Death Stranding 2. Any interest there?
I mean Hideo Kojima,
Wait,
he's a genius, but
did you play Death Stranding?
no, I didn't play Death Stranding.
Yeah.
So I
Um,
mean, I think I'm good on that for now. It's a very long time commitment for that gameplay loop, and I'm sure the payoff is great, but the time commitment to get to those payoffs it seems like a game that doesn't really respect your time, to be honest. But
yeah.
um,
Well, people love it though.
people do love it, and I'm sure I'm missing out on something, but just not for me.
Yeah, I think that's also a not for me game, but I'm happy that people who do love it get a sequel,
Yeah.
and I'm sure it'd be pretty good. Um, the last one I want to bring up here, and then maybe we can just quickly talk about what we've been playing.
hmm
Here's an underrated looking game. This new Marvel game, The Rise of Hydra.
I know nothing about this game.
I don't know much either, but as far as I know, it's kind of like a story-driven, like cinematic kind of game. It's, if I remember right, it's where you play as Captain America and Black
Oh,
Panther in World War
yeah, yeah,
Two.
yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, that got like leaked ages ago. Is that
Yeah,
coming this
it
year?
got properly revealed. I was looking on Google earlier, and it says this one's 2025. It actually
Hmm.
looks pretty good. The graphics are insanely good, which makes me a little worried that it's going to run like crap. But I don't know. This one could be good. I like a good superhero game.
Do we know who's developing it?
It's a studio called Skydance.
Oh, so a new
Um,
one. Oy.
um, so I don't think they're a new company, but it might be their first video game. But it's directed by, I'm just Googling this to double check. It's directed by Amy Hennig of Uncharted.
Oh, that's a good get.
Yeah, who did the original Uncharted games.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
my feeling is that this could be a surprise hit.
yeah.
Well, I guess not a surprise, it's a Marvel game, but like I feel like there's not much hype at the moment and it could actually be really good.
Well, yeah, that's right. I mean, I think the best Marvel game of all time is Guardians of the Galaxy. So, uh,
Yeah, you love that. So
yeah,
you'd be
that's a,
keen
that's a,
for that.
that's a
That'd be good.
good like character story driven game. Like the combat is
Yeah,
probably the weakest out of the Marvel games, but the writing and the
yeah,
story is really really good. So they got someone
yeah.
like someone who directed the previous Uncharted games on this. I mean, very strong
Exactly.
chance it's
That's what
gonna be
I
good.
mean.
Yeah,
It has that Naughty Dog kind of quality to it.
yeah,
Could be pretty exciting.
could be a sneak peek, and it seems like an interesting idea. Black Panther, Captain America, World War Two.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
Mm.
So, yeah, that'll be interesting. That's it on kind of list of games that at least stand out to me. There's
Mm.
there's a bunch of other games releasing this year, but those are kind of the highlights to me. Is there anything I missed?
I mean, maybe Borderlands 4, but I've already talked about that, and I guess
Yeah,
the headline is more Borderlands is
yeah,
is cool, I guess.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you're a big Borderlands fan. You'll be
So
excited.
I'll
I'm
like
pretty.
it,
Yeah.
yeah. And I'm not really expecting that much innovation. I just want just want a new reason to play Borderlands.
Fair enough. Um, let's wrap this one up, but let's just quickly talk about what we've been playing over the holidays. Um, I'll start us off because I'm gonna hit us with a game that we've both been playing,
hmm
Balatro. Oh my god!
Yeah,
So you told me, I think probably on the last episode of the podcast, that I need to get Balatro, and I told you I would get it, and I've since got it, and I've now got a crippling addiction. So congratulations. Yeah, Balatro's a winner.
you gotcha.
It's so much fun. It's
Ridiculous.
yeah. I mean, I think you already talked about it, but like just this idea of like a roguelike where you're looking for poker hands to score points and you're trying to build up your multipliers. Um, I think we both have pretty mathematical brains, so it's so much fun, like trying to build up that multiplier as big as you can, and the satisfaction of just seeing all those big numbers times and multiply and add together.
Yeah, I
So
need to
satisfying.
I need to sit down again because I've got an action plan to absolutely break the multiplier, but I need to sit down and properly execute it. I'm gonna just go on the lowest stake with the extra discard, and I'm just gonna make all my hands into kings, and then I'm gonna put red seals on them, and then I'm gonna get the idol, which re-triggers every card, and then I'm gonna get the baron that re-triggers every king held in hand, and
Oh
that
my
that's how
god,
that's how you break the game, and then get
you're
blueprints.
you're on a different level.
But that's
You're
just
in
my
so
action
deep.
plan. But I have to,
You're in so deep.
because you have to keep re-rolling, so you have to get like value jokes at the beginning to get like your economy up and stuff. Um,
You're in so deep.
I'm in so deep, but I need to find some time to sit down because that's gonna be like a 2-3 hour sesh, or probably even longer. Because if I'm gonna go to endless mode, but I absolutely want to break that game. I just want to break it.
Yeah, it's dude. It's
It's what
such
I
a
it's
sick
what
game.
I mentioned earlier with Night Rain. It's like that's the gold standard of roguelikes. Like
Yeah,
you have the ability to build god runs, but still you're getting new jokers and all that sort of stuff
yeah,
in
you're
between runs.
progressing into it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so it kind of adheres to that standard.
and that game also gives you a bunch of different challenges. Like first you want to beat it with every single deck, and then you want to beat it on each difficulty with every single deck.
Yeah,
So like even though it's kind of the same gameplay loop, there's always a new challenge to try and tackle, as
yeah,
well as like obviously building out the full collection of cards.
yeah, yeah,
Um, so it's just so addictive. And then it's the perfect Steam Deck game. Like I bought a few games for my Steam Deck when on holiday, and I just ended up playing Balatro. It was just like Balatro, Balatro, Balatro. So
That's
I
the
played.
exact same thing for my holiday. I actually
Yeah,
snuck in like half a playthrough of Sekiro while I
yeah.
was on the plane. I was able to finish
But
half
then
of
you
it,
just want to play Balatro,
and
right?
then I
Like you
switched
just
to
like
Balatro. Yeah, that's right.
I know, and it's so funny. It's like I've got this like $900 device, and I'm playing a game that I could be playing on my phone.
Yeah, I mean, I think getting on the phone is dangerous. I genuinely believe that's a dangerous thing to do. That's something I'm not gonna do. That's dangerous.
That's a good point. Imagine being at work and you're just
Oh,
playing
it's
Balatro.
lunchtime. I'll just quick Bellatra run and 7 hours pass.
It's been lunchtime for 7 hours. What are you doing?
Yeah,
You haven't touched your food. Oh my god.
one more run.
Yeah. And then, do you have anything else you've been playing that you want to talk about?
I don't know. It's been a bit of a quiet period. I mean, yeah. I mean, I started Dark Souls 3 again, but I think I need to take a break from Souls likes, and I want to get back into
Yeah.
those character action games and Ninja Gaiden this
Nice.
year. Um,
Yeah.
making sure
So a
that
bit of a
happens.
quiet period for you then.
I mean, you got Ninja Gaiden 2.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Ninja Gaiden
Nah.
2. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've talked about that enough, but yeah, what a sick game.
Yeah.
And then I just wanted to mention the two other games. So I think on the last podcast, I think where we left it off, I said my next game is Bloodborne.
Mhm.
And I'm so happy to say I finished Bloodborne very quickly. I adore that game. We're going to do a full
Yeah.
podcast
Yeah.
on Bloodborne. We're going
Yeah.
to bring in our friend who's a massive Souls fan,
Yeah.
and we'll talk about Bloodborne. But
Don't give too
um,
much away.
no, I won't. And but honest to God, this is I'm still having trouble deciding if Bloodborne. So it's definitely either first or second favorite Souls game. Whether it's kind of tied with Elden Ring for me, or whether it's just a little bit below Elden Ring, purely based on the fact that Elden Ring's so massive. I don't know, but yeah, playing through Bloodborne, I played through the DLCs as well. Far out, what an experience! I love that game so much.
I'm telling you, man, they don't miss, and Dark Souls 2 is underrated.
Yeah, well, I have to play Dark Souls 2 eventually, but I like you. I think I need a break from
Yeah.
Souls games, especially after doing three playthroughs of Elden Ring last year, plus
Yeah,
Dark Souls
dude,
3, plus
because
Bloodborne.
when I did a Souls run through, I did one playthrough of each game.
And I just played Elden Ring 5 times
Yeah.
over a couple years.
Yeah. So yeah, I
I just
think
couldn't get enough.
yeah, but the Night Rain will come out and we'll probably be addicted again, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's true. And then the last thing I want to talk about is Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Um, Absolute banger. I love this game. So
That's it. I want to get into because I haven't seen any of the movies except for one that came out like when I was 8. I don't know which one that one's called.
yeah, Crystal Skull.
Crystal Skull. That's it. So I probably need to watch the movies first, but that looks a lot of fun.
I think you do. You definitely need to at least watch the original trilogy. Um, but like for me, I love Indiana Jones so much. It'd be my second favorite franchise after Star Wars. And so this game, it's like I was, before it came out, I was like, Machine Games making Indiana Jones on paper seems awesome. Some of the footage they showed in the trailers, I was like, it looks cool, but like just yeah, like I don't really know what the gameplay looks like. I don't think they did a great job at selling what it is. Turns out it's this game that's kind of like got these it's like these light immersive sim elements. There's a lot of stealthing around. There's like a lot of like kind of solving environmental puzzles as you're in like these tombs and stuff like that. But then there's also this combat system where there's a bunch of just crap lying around. You can pick up a shovel, you can pick up like a pan, and you can just whack Nazis with them. You can freaking get a shovel and just like sweep out a Nazi's like feet, donk him on the head, and he falls off a building. Like, and there's these really funny like ragdoll physics. Um, and like you're not going to get this because you haven't seen the movies, but it's so perfectly Indiana Jones. It's this perfect combination of like this silly over the top action with a bit of slapstick, um, and like the sneaking element and like like you're sneaking around because you want to be like Indiana Jones in the movies, but if you get caught, you just punch your way out of it, and it's exactly how it goes in the movies as well. Um, and then the game itself, the story feels like the presentation, the story, the music, it feels like an Indiana Jones film right out of the 1980s. Um, which is like it's just so cool. Like it genuinely feels like a film. And Troy Baker as Indiana Jones, he sounds like Harrison Ford. It's incredible. So I haven't finished that one yet, but it's a big win so far. I'm loving Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, and I really want you to go watch the movies and then go play this game.
Right, yeah, because yeah, I think you touched on it a little bit, but part of what seems to make the game so great is that they're able to stay faithful to the source material. Um,
Yeah, I don't think it would hit you the same. And
exactly.
I don't I even if you go watch the movies, I don't know if it's going to hit you the same unless you love the movies because you don't have nostalgia.
Yeah.
But for me, as a person who grew up on these films and still loves them so much, this this is like this is the perfect Indiana Jones game. It just feels so much like Indiana Jones, and I'm so happy they didn't make an Uncharted clone.
Yeah. I think that's what a lot of people were expecting, to be honest. Well, before Machine Games got assigned to it, but yeah. If you had
Yeah, but
told someone if it was going to be an Indiana Jones game, you'd expect a little bit of a Uncharted clone.
yeah, but it never would have worked because Uncharted you're shooting so much, and Indiana Jones doesn't shoot very often. Most of the time, he punches his way out of stuff.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's not like Uncharted clones fail. I think that the most obvious Uncharted clones like Tomb Raider, but I guess it's completely different,
Well,
right?
Tomb Raider, Uncharted was a Tomb Raider clone, but
Oh no, I'm talking about the
a
games.
nuance.
Yeah, yeah, the Crystal Dynamics trilogy. Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
But I love them. But anyway, besides the point.
Yeah. So Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, big surprise hit for me. I was excited for it because machine games are good, but I wasn't expecting it to feel literally like it honestly, I'm ranting a bit, but the Indiana Jones trilogy, the second movie is a prequel. So there's the first movie and the third movie are like kind of sequential.
Yeah,
And they're set a couple years apart. And this is set in between those two movies, and it feels like a movie that should have been made in between those. It picks up on some story threads and some of the things that happened in between off screen that aren't really addressed in the films. Like why is this certain character not in the third film? So it does it perfectly. It's so good.
yeah.
But anyway, that's my rant about Indiana Jones. You can't identify with it. You can't.
I'm sure some viewers will.
Yeah. So anyway, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Thank you, Todd Howard. Better than Starfield. Good job. um, Alrighty. Well, did you have anything else you wanted to talk about, or shall we wrap it up here? I think we've been going for quite a while.
I think we're all sorted.
Well, that was really fun. I'm glad that we're both very hyped for 2025. I think it's going to be a banger year.
Definitely the same thing.
Yep. Next week we'll get back to our regular programming, talking about the news as it drops, and maybe we can talk about some of the things that we kind of missed over the like in this session. I guess like some of the further out games. It'd be good to talk about. That prediction that came true, Naughty Dog's next game, we predicted it.
Yep.
It got announced.
Yep.
We can maybe talk about The Witcher 4, stuff like that. But we'll see what kind of news breaks over the week as well.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much, Mark. That was good fun as always.
Pleasure, man.
To anyone who is listening, if you are listening and you made it this far, if you enjoyed the show, please, tell your friends about us. Give us 5 stars wherever you're listening to us, or like it on YouTube. Subscribe to the podcast. Follow us on our socials, such as what do we have? Instagram and Twitter at the moment. We are Chop It Up Gaming. Please leave a comment if you enjoyed this podcast. We will see you whenever we record next time.
Bye.
Bye.